the sky, dear.
Oh, you flying machine.
Jump in, Miss Josephine.
Ship ahoy!
Oh, joy, what a feeling.
Wheels go through the ceiling, ho, high.
Hoopla, we fly to the sky so high.
On December 17th, 1903, Orville and Wilbur Wright made the first controlled, powered, and sustained heavier-than-air human flight. Just over 6 years later, 250,000 people, half the population of Los Angeles, flocked to the 1910 Dominguez Air Meet. The wealthy arrived in automobiles, and many used the Southern Pacific steam trains, using a special routing just for the air meet. Some arrived on horseback, and for many, it would be the very first time they had ever seen an aircraft.
The meet was billed as the first international airshow competition in America. It was second in the world. There were $80,000 in prizes. With those kinds of stakes, no one was going to miss it. It was a 10-day event, and each day people from Los Angeles and beyond bought tickets and crowded the grandstands. Famous aviators from all over the world became front-page news. Audiences were enthralled by the large variety of flying machines. In addition to aircraft built by Curtiss and Farman, other famous aviation pioneers had created a variety of wing configurations, with designs that included single, bi-wing, which were by far the most popular, tri-wing, and even a 5-winged aircraft, built by Los Angeles resident Professor J.S. Zerb of Polytechnic High School, which unfortunately toppled over like a stack of pancakes before getting airborne.
Important industry pioneers attended the show as audience members, including Jimmy Doolittle, a mere teenager at the time, William Boeing, who later formed Boeing Aircraft Company, and Glenn L. Martin, whose company later merged to become Lockheed Martin.
The meet helped inspire them to embrace aviation, giving the budding aviation industry a jumpstart, which propelled it into mainstream acceptance.
Air racing was another aspect of the Aero Club's involvement, with members supporting the influx of women into aviation. Club members helped with the logistics of what was known as the Powder Puff Derby, where thousands gathered to cheer on celebrities such as Amelia Earhart and the infamous Pancho Barnes. Few know that the Aero Club saved the historic Howard Hughes flying boat, known as the Spruce Goose. After Hughes made his government-demanded flight to fulfill his obligations, the flying boat was mothballed for 33 years. However, after Hughes passed away, the property owners evicted the aircraft with their plans to build a refinery on the location. The Spruce Goose owners, Summa Corp. And the U.S. government, offered it to the Smithsonian. However, the Smithsonian had no room for it, although they did plan to keep the cockpit for display while sending other parts to various museums. Eventually, they planned to chop it up and discard it. Word of its destruction got out, and the Aero Club members and local dignitaries hit the streets with petitions and publicity to save the aircraft. Their efforts worked, which encouraged the Summa Corp to sell the club the aircraft, but with one stipulation. Funds generated were to be used in part to help restore the reputation of Howard Hughes, which had been so badly tarnished in his later years. The Aero Club leased the flying boat to a Mr. Rather, who paid to move and house it in its new location, the magnificent dome in Long Beach Harbor. All was well until the property owners, Disney, decided to repurpose the property, and the Goose was evicted once again. Since the Aero Club owned it, they were determined to find a home. They launched a campaign to solicit buyers, with the winner being a Del Ford Smith of the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinville, Oregon. Smith transported the aircraft by barge along the coast, then disassembled it for transportation to the museum, where it rests happily today for all to see. In 1978, in honor of Howard Hughes, the Aero Club created the Howard Hughes Memorial Award. Throughout the years, the club has honored many of the most influential names in the history of aviation and aerospace. The coveted solid silver medallion cast from silver from Hughes, Nevada mines highlights aspects of Howard Hughes' incredible life. The Aero Club Scholarship Program assists young people in pursuit of their careers in aviation and aerospace. Last year, $33,000 in funds were awarded to highly motivated and driven students. Over $280,000 in funds have been awarded to date. The Aero Club also supports filmmakers who produce aviation-related documentaries, such as Bob Hoover's Flying the Feathered Edge, The Legend of Pancho Barnes, the 1910 Aviation Meet, and the inspirational documentary Right-Footed, which highlights a woman who flies aircraft despite being born with no arms. As one of the oldest organizations in aviation and aerospace, the Aero Club of Southern California, with its pioneering spirit, has established a history of its own. As the Aero Club of Southern California moves into the future, we invite new members and corporate sponsors alike to join us in becoming part of the exciting world in aviation and aerospace.